All right, folks, use hashtag Cowboys to get your questions on the show. Again, it's that hashtag Cowboys. That'll get you on here. Now, I do want to shout out some people before we get some more questions here. Some recent Cowboys Report subscribers. I'm just going to call the first one Jay, because I'll botch the numbers. Jay, Jesse Wally, Christian Treviso, or Trevezzo. I think it's Treviso. Producer Brett, stop laughing at me. CPB, and then Junior Gonzalez. Thank you guys for subscribing. Be like those guys. Make sure you're subscribed. YouTube.com/Dallas Cowboys Report. Lucio probably drafting a safety next year, ? I mean, probably, but I don't know if it's going to be an early round safety. Remember, George Iloka has 1 year left on his deal. Jeff Heath has 1 year left on his deal. And I think Frazier's deal is also almost out either. So if you bring them all back, well, then probably not. But if you lose one or both, you really should go draft safety next year. At this point, I keep waiting for the Cowboys to spend an early round pick on safety, and I think I just got to give up the dream. It's not going to happen. All right, Val Castillo, over under 4,000 passing yards and 30 touchdowns for Dak Prescott. Do the touchdowns have to be have to be passing? Because if they're rushing, over under is a good number for 30. But if it's only passing, I'll take the under. Dak puts up 23 or so, 22 each and every year. So I don't think that's really going to change. He was close to 4,000 this year, 3,800 and some change there. That's a good over-under there in terms of passing yards too. So I'll take just under passing yards because they don't need to play in Week 17. I'll take my cop out there. And 30 touchdowns, I'll go under on that one. Shut up, Brett. All right, Jeffrey Johnson with some Facebook questions now. What are they saying, I think he means they saying, about Zeke pushing the security guard down? Well, I mean, look. Zeke's got to make better decisions. Let's not kid ourselves here. Zeke has to put himself in better situations. Now, I think the security guard did flop. I don't think it's a big deal, but you always have to worry about Roger Goodell making decisions with Zeke Elliott. So we broke that down in an earlier video. We'll see about Zeke. It's always in the back of your mind, NFL can do whatever they want. You could just throw out 5 games or 4 games. Why not? It's whatever. Just a little bit concerning there. All right, folks, make sure you follow our Facebook page, by the way, facebook.com/Cowboys World Dallas, one of the biggest Cowboys Facebook pages out there. More questions from the Facebook page, by the way. From Daniel, how do you feel about this year's draft class? Will they have any impact this year? I was okay with the Cowboys draft class. I think Tristan Hill is in line to make the biggest impact as a rotational 3 technique and maybe even some 1 technique on passing downs. In an ideal world, you probably don't even play Connor McGovern unless Williams gets hurt, you move him to tackle, so he's more of a long-term piece. And then Tony Pollard is the splash sexier player of the options this year. He'll make an impact, but I don't think it's going to be the 30-touch impact. So there'll be an impact, but with no first-round pick, it's not going to be as good as previous draft classes. You're missing out your premier option. All right, from David, will the Cowboys consider signing Gerald McCoy? I think they should, but I don't know if the Cowboys actually are going to do that. I think you might see a situation where the Cowboys say, you know what, we want to give Tristan Hill reps, we want to give, Malik Collins and Crawford and Woods reps and Covington reps. We're going to pass on McCoy and save that $5 million or so into next year. By the way, McCoy visiting the Browns, I think they might make the most sense of all. Mr. F. Cancer, do you think we need another Marion Barber type running back? First off, I love the Barbarian. I miss him. You don't with Zeke. If you want to move on from Zeke, Pollard can be your lightning. You can go find more of a thunder type in the draft. That's, I guess, an option, but I don't think the Cowboys need to draft Barber or draft a Barber type. You have the best running back in the NFL. Why go out and get a bigger guy just to get 5 carries a game? You just don't need that at most. All right, Nicholas Butler. How many points per game will the Cowboys average under Kellen Moore? Good question. I'll put the over-under at 26, and that actually is higher than you might think. I'll put the over-under at 26 points per game. I figure you're all going to say the over, but that's my over-under there. 26 points per game. I thought about 27, but that actually is kind of high. All right, if you want to have your question answered here, how about a super chat? That's a good way to increase your odds there. Here are our most recent super chats. Dominic Jackson actually came in today. Thank you for that, Dominic. Benjamin Tellis, Hot Tep to God, Kilgore, and also Jordan Thomas all put out recent super chats. So thank you guys very much. We appreciate that here on YouTube on the Cowboys Report. More live Q&A questions from Reed Ferguson. Any thoughts about Kyle Rudolph? Maybe next year. I don't think this year makes much sense for the Cowboys. Not because you're probably going to have to trade for him. It'll cost you $7 million. If you bring in Rudolph, what are you doing with Jason Witten? You're paying him a decent amount of money to be your number 2 tight end and not play much. That doesn't make much sense. If you bring in Rudolph, with Witten and Rudolph combined, you're paying the most of any team at tight end in terms of like their number 1 guy, because I'll call those together. Maybe the Redskins have more with Vernon Davis and Jordan Reed, but that really increases your price tag. You're paying Witten as a starter, not as a backup. So you don't want to bring in a top 10 tight end and have a top 15 tight end in terms of cap space. That's not going to use it. Now, next year, I'm intrigued. I think that makes a lot of sense there for the Cowboys there. So not this year, but let's revisit it next season. From Fan Club here, if Dak goes down, will Tony... I like it. He cut himself off. He knew. See, I like you. I appreciate that there. I'm going to stay calm and not get angry over those. From Wayne, how is Donovan Wilson looking in OTAs? Will he make the team? Rookies beyond Pollard have been a little bit quiet there. Also, why do you have 2 spaces in your name? Don't worry about OTAs, frankly. Like the pads aren't on. It's a pretty decent amount of conditioning even there. Yeah, there are some drills, but do not get overblown by OTAs. Let's focus more on training camp and the preseason. That's going to be key for Wilson. They might only take one of Kevon Frazier and Donovan Wilson. Let those 2 compete, both late round picks. Of course, Wilson's the first-year player. As of right now, Wilson might be maybe they try and stash him on the practice squad. I think that's doable for the Cowboys, but Wilson does fit what Richard likes at strong safety. From Lucia, I hope I pronounced her name right, by the way. Byron Jones probably gets the tag. I think it's possible. Of the Cowboys players right now, I think he makes the most sense, and frankly, the franchise tag would be about the right value, I think, for Byron Jones. Now, of course, the Cowboys want to pay Zeke, and they want to pay Amari, and they want to pay Dak Prescott, and if they can franchise tag Byron, if he plays well again next year, I think the cornerback market is due for a reset. What if there isn't a full reset before this year starts? And what if Byron says, yeah, I'll play team there, and I'll take like a $13 or $14 million deal per year. That's pretty good value for a cornerback that I think the market's about to really blow up in the way that off-ball linebackers did this offseason with C.J. Mosley. Manster54 says, welcome back, Tom. Hope you had a great trip. Thank you, I did. Do you think we will finally get more turnovers this year? I hope so. That is the only thing saying or differentiating the Cowboys between being a really, really good inside the top 10 defense between being an elite top 5 defense. If you force more turnovers, that is a recipe for success in the NFL. I hope you'll see it. It does require Byron and Cheeto and maybe most importantly Xavier Woods to be more of ball hawks. Byron's been kind of more of a coverage guy. Cheeto's been that but hasn't been able to turn his head around in time. So we'll see on that front. I will say Michael Jackson is second to last year at Miami. Did make some plays on the ball. So maybe not this year, but maybe down the road you finally see a lot more playmaking in the secondary in terms of taking the ball away from the Cowboys defense. All right, next up from Reith K. Why do some people say that Dak deserves at most $20 million? I believe he's worth the $30 million price tag given what he's done. I agree. I think the biggest thing is it's sticker shock. And I don't think teams, and even teams don't understand this fully. I don't think fans fully understand just how much the salary cap has gone up in recent years. That $25 million deal that Derek Carr signed a few seasons ago, that's pretty much worth $30 now with the way the salary cap has gone up. That is the nature of NFL contracts. If you offer Dak Prescott $20 million, he hangs up the phone and says, never talk to me again. Or, less extreme, but he'd be upset. So, the $30 million price tag, I think you're right? It does make some more sense there. By the way, folks, make sure you have YouTube notifications turned on. Join the notification game to be notified each time we go live, have a new video posted, all kinds of great stuff for you. So make sure you have them turned on, those YouTube notifications here on the Cowboys Report. From Bo Nord, I hope Zeke doesn't surpass 2,000 rushing. We drafted 2 other backs. It's a fair point, actually. I think that's a very good point, and I've made it before. It's a good one. If you want to re-sign Zeke Elliott long-term, you really do want to limit his touches. Not give him, nothing, but you don't want to have him touching the ball 30 times a game. You want to have him at a lesser amount to keep him fresh both for this season and for 4 years from now. And if you can give Zeke 400 touches or 375, that's not going to work. You've got to cut those down, so I think it's a very good point there. Hey Cowboys fans, thanks for watching the Cowboys Report. If you haven't already, click right here to subscribe to our channel for all the best Cowboys coverage on the internet. That's news, rumors, highlights, mailbags, film studies, and a whole lot more. And I'm making your lives a little bit easier as well with the next Cowboys Report video right here.